Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the wrestling world never stops, and neither do me and Tom, and that is why we are here with the Wrestling with Marks, Tom and Harrison podcast. And as always, I am here with the incomparable and outspoken Tom King. Tom, are you ready, sir?
Of course I'm ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I am ready. We are
No, no,
here
no,
for
no,
our.
heel. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Then
uh,
let's get ready to
I
suck
had to
it,
get
my
that. That
friend.
was my yeah for the podcast. Sorry, guys. You get one from now on. One, one small finger.
Then let's then let's get ready to suck it, man, shall we?
Where's my DX foam?
I have
I gotta
no
get one of
idea.
those. My
Man,
foam
D
DX sign.
man, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to Wrestling
Welcome to the
Marks.
show. All right, so all you heels out there, we are here for our June 26th review of Smackdown, which was in London, England, and then we're going to hop into our Monday Night Raw review, which at the recording of this podcast at this time, Raw was just over not too long ago for some of you out there on, I believe this is the 29th of June. So we're doing a togetherness, if you will, for a double review because this weekend, if you know, we had Forbidden Door, Slammiversary, and the Great American Bash. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just do our Monday Night Raw and our SmackDown review, kind of hit the high points here for you, do what we can. And then we're going to have our episode of In Gorilla to cover the amazing weekend that we had, that we got to witness all together for professional wrestling. What a time it was. But Tom, if you're ready, sir, I'm ready to hop into our SmackDown review in London, England.
Well, you know I'm ready. I'm always ready for a show.
Oh, yeah. And I will say, this episode of SmackDown again. I'm a SmackDown guy, as you know. I like to praise SmackDown when they do.
Right.
Unfortunately, the WWE's in one of those cycles right now where again the whole entire company and the product as a whole does need some working
Right.
on for sure. There's not too much direction, but I will say they're in one of those cycles right now, Tom, where Raw is significantly more compelling than SmackDown, as we're
You
going to
know,
get into.
honestly, I'm glad that you brought that up because it always seemed that SmackDown always transferred who was the most popular show, hence the brand wars that we used to have. You know, I was a Raw guy, but I'd watch SmackDown. But
Yeah,
that when SmackDown was hot, I would watch SmackDown. To me, it was always back and forth.
right, right. It is, and unfortunately, WWE does go through these cycles. As we again, what we've seen. I mean, we've seen this last year after WrestleMania. SmackDown was really good, then Raw was good. Now we're seeing this again in January, as I've alluded to this before. In January, when Kit Wilson was getting hot, Trick Williams, all the NXT call-ups, SmackDown was great. But now Monday Night Raw has just become more compelling, and
Well,
WWE's having a difficult time keeping an even balance on shows,
well, you
which
know,
seems kind of directionless for the company as a whole, unfortunately.
right. Well, you know what it is too. You got two rosters on two different brands, probably one of the best talents that we've seen in a very long time, correct?
Right,
So
right.
we got on SmackDown, we have Cody, you have Ethan Page, you have all these new coming guys. And then on Raw, you had, of course, the hottest
I got
topic.
Obafemi, Javon Evans,
Of
Sol
course, the
Ruca.
hottest topic is Obafemi and now Io Sky.
Yeah, yeah, it is. So
So,
that's just kind of our interpretation of the shows for now. But let's get into our June 26th review of Friday Night SmackDown in London, England. And, I had a lot of hope for the show, I will say. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sure by now, at the time of this recording of this podcast, this is just after Monday Night Raw on June 29th. So
right,
I know you guys were already a week ahead, so I can go ahead and say this. Everybody's already seen it. This was a taped SmackDown. Unfortunately, there were some spoilers out there before this broadcast occurred. So a lot of people kind of already knew what was going to happen. We just live in that day and age. But for our broadcast, we're going to follow as best as we can. So, first off, we do have Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair's friend, Alexa Bliss, taking on Michin and BFAB. And this is Jade Cargill has kind of inserted herself or had her eye on the U.S. title scene, incoming Tiffany Stratton into this match. And of course, attacking Charlotte Flair last week. So, Alexa standing up for her in a way here.
right.
Um, I thought it was a decent match. Actually, I thought Tiffany
Oh, it was a
performed
good
rather
match.
well.
It
She
was a
got the
good
hot
match.
tag.
It was a
She got
good
the hot
match.
tag.
It was a good
Um,
match. It was a good match.
it was. Ultimately, with the help of Jade Cargill,
Right.
um, Michin and BFAB do go over here. I was kind of hoping for Tiffany and Bliss here. I thought it was maybe a little more compelling. Um, I don't know what direction if they're going to actually move with with Jade. I mean, of course, Tiffany retained at Night of Champions, as we've seen Jade fail to capture the said title at the expense of Charlotte Flair, who
Right.
cost her. By the way, spoiler for
You
um,
know,
Night of Champion. We're going to get Night of Champions, of course, and then Gorilla. But for tonight, Tiffany and Bliss do the job for Meech and BFAB. Your thoughts?
you know, I thought it was a smart move on that part, because now they have room to move forward with Tiffany and Jade, and honestly, I'd like to
Yeah,
see Jade
possibly
take,
again. Yeah,
it would be cool to see Jade to have that title, carry the
I
US
think it would
title.
be. I think it would be. I think it would be cool.
And
But
now you
again,
mentioned what, the second time, right? This would be the second time?
if they continue this feud again, they already had one match for the title, which was at Night of Champions, but that
Right.
already happened. If they do continue this possibly into SummerSlam, we could see Jay Tiffany two for that U.S. title.
You
Maybe
know
Jade might win it.
you know,
Maybe
I wouldn't mind if Jade wins the, United States Women's Championship. I wouldn't
I
really
wouldn't
mind
mind
that.
either.
I
I
really
really
wouldn't,
wouldn't. I
man.
wouldn't
I mean,
mind.
Jade Cargill is really good, man. She really is. She's got
She's getting
everything that
better.
she's getting better.
She's getting
For
better.
for
Yeah.
some odd reason, WWE sees the it factor in her.
I've
And
said this
honest to God,
before.
she does have the it factor.
Over in AEW again, Jake Cargill was one of the first people that came over to WWE from AEW. You know, when
Yep.
a lot of people are doing this now, the ecosystem is fully in entangled, if you will. Jake
Right.
Cargill was one of Cody was already a given. That was already Cody going over. That was already I didn't that wasn't even a second thought. When Jade went over, she was the first one that made me go, oh, some people aren't meant for AEW. They're meant for WWE. And where I'm going with this is the WWE sees something in Jade Cargill, and Jade Cargill is not my favorite. I've said this before. She still needs a lot of work. However, she has definitely hit some good key spots that have accentuated the character of Jade Cargill. And boy, her going after the U.S. title, I'm not necessarily against. So I think, however, another point that I do want to cover in this match is someone else who we almost forgot, who was also entangled in this, more on the Tiffany Stratton side, is Chelsea Green makes the save after a beatdown, and then her and Tiffany stand tall. You know, they kind of sister up and oh yeah, we stand tall, and that's what happens to close out this segment. Um, do you think that Chelsea Green has actually won Tiffany over completely at this point, or no?
Oh yeah, I would say so at this point, but again, time will tell with more storytelling and everything like that with everything
Uh-huh.
that's going on. But I believe that maybe that she's officially earned Tiffany Stratton's respect. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
she came in there for the save, man. How could you not respect her for that? I'm glad that
And
they
this isn't the
kinda
first time. This isn't
No.
the first time we've seen backstage stuff. This isn't the first time that Chelsea has come to the aid of one Tiffany
So yeah,
Stratton.
I think that
Tiffany's kind of warming up to her. She's kind of
yeah,
warming up.
I think she's finally warmed up to Green.
I
Again,
hope so.
hopefully
I do.
hopefully that, with Green and Chelsea, I'm not a big fan of the women's tag team division, but if
Yeah.
they become a tag team, I'd like to see them win those women tag team titles.
And you know
It'd
what?
be a cool thing to see.
And you know what? It's funny you say that because I don't see that being if Jay wins the championship coming up at SummerSlam, if they decide to go that route with her and Tiffany, I can see a world where WWE might go, you know
I
what? You know what
I
would be
see
a
it
smart
happening,
idea?
really.
You
I
know what would
do.
be a smart idea? Let's have Tiffany and Chelsea team up. That would probably be something of that
And
WWE
don't
would
get me
do.
wrong, guys. Don't get me wrong, heels, viewers, whatever you want to call yourselves at this point. It's not that I don't like the tag team division. It's just there's not enough.
And you know, I guess something WWE could do. A name like Tiffany Stratton and a name like Chelsea Green. And I also want to mention this as well. I wouldn't. I'm a Chelsea Green. I'm a Slager man. I'm a patriot. Whatever you want to call me. I am for Chelsea Green. In fact, when Piper Nevin was down, there was an application that went out. If any of you remember this, there was an application that Chelsea Green posted on Twitter. I need a Slager, and here's the qualifications, brother. I sent in an application. I was a patriot. I was wanting to be a slave agent, whatever you want to call it. However, is giving the accolade of a three-time U.S. champion three times over, is that worth it at this point? No. I would want to see Chelsea succeed, but giving her a third U.S. championship, I don't see it happening. As that's why I've come to the conclusion that if Jay does win this championship from Tiffany at SummerSlam, if they decide to go that route, WWE might just go, you know what, Tiffany, Chelsea, you guys got to be tag team champions, and let's make it. According to the tag,
And you know
I
what?
kind of,
Right, right. I see what you're saying, but you know what? Like I was saying, the tag team division, the women's tag team division, there's really not enough for me to grasp. But if Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton were to tag team up and go for those titles and win them, man, I'd love to see it. I think the women's tag team division needs to build a little bit more for me, in my opinion,
yeah,
my humble opinion on
yeah.
that.
Well, top with that being said, we then move on to this is not a match, but this is a very interesting key point within the show.
Mm.
We do see Solo Sokoa backstage sit on the couch, and in walks Hikuleo. Again, he to me he's Hikuleo. In walks Hikuleo and Tamatonga, and they, in a nutshell, they're done. They're
Yep.
done with Solo, and they said, "Look, man, you this Roman stuff, the bloodline stuff, it's harming us. We're done. We warned you, we told you." And Solo, "Oh, you can't leave me. You can't
And
do this. You can't."
that
They
was
leave him.
interesting. I called it for that one. They were gonna kick him out. I called it. I called it. They were gonna kick him out. I knew it was gonna happen eventually. I just didn't know how it would happen.
I mean, I don't. I mean, they just straight up left. They
But
just
I'm
said, "We're
glad.
done.
I'm
We're
glad
walking
that they're
away from
done.
you."
I'm glad that the MFT is done and
I
kaputs
am too.
because
I am too. Unfortunately,
it was good. To me, even when they were feuding with the Bloodline, it was silly. You know what I mean?
you know. And here's the thing. I'm not even sure. And again, now the question is, what do we do with Tama and Hikuleo? Because realistically, the only thing they can do is get another shot at Damien and Truth.
Yeah.
Will that happen? We don't know because we've seen Damien and Truth talking to one Viking Raiders backstage. So the Viking Raiders are now apparently going after the tag team championships, Truth and Damien. What do we do with a triple threat?
I think it's
MFTs
kaputs. I think it's kaputs for
or
them, to be honest.
Hikuleo and Tama against the Raiders and against Wepa Up at SummerSlam. That's the only thing I can think of. What do we? I mean,
The name is ridiculous to this day. Um,
no, you like it. Come on now.
um,
Guys, when we're
no,
off camera, guys, when we're behind before we hit record, he tells me how much he loves that name, and I'll let him
oh
fool you.
yeah, all the time.
Um,
No,
moving
it's
on,
just
we
I,
have our. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just I like the fact that MFT is kaputs, and I think that they're gonna do things on their own now. Hopefully,
Yeah, yeah, I do
hopefully,
too. I do too. And again, I mean, we'll get to it later in the show. We'll get to it later and coming up soon. But before that, we do have our next championship title defense, which I like that they're doing this with Ray Phoenix. They finally found something for this guy. Didn't have to be AAA related. I don't think it had to have been, but we're here. We have Ray Phoenix defending the AAA Cruiserweight Championship
yep.
against Nathan Frazier. And if you remember last week on SmackDown, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Ray Phoenix against Axiom. And what did I
And you know
say?
what?
What did we say on that podcast? Nathan Frazier needs to be next.
And you
And
know
here we
what?
are.
And you know what? I'm glad Nathan Frazier. I like Nathan Frazier. I like
I
Axiom.
love him. He's great.
I like them both. I wouldn't say love, but I like them both.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to see Ray Phoenix back in an actual WWE ring instead of a AAA ring.
Yeah.
The fact that
Technically, it's
the
a
AAA
WWE ring because they're
titles,
under the WWE banner. But
right? Well, either or.
for those of you out there that want to get technical,
If you want to get
technical.
technical, sure. But I like the fact that AAA titles are being defended on different shows.
Yeah, it was nice to see the AAA title defended on SmackDown. It was the Cruiserweight
Yeah.
Championship. The only thing I wrote down for this, I mean, again, we're just kind of skimming through here. because we have a lot to catch up on.
Right.
It's a lucha style match, Triple A, obviously, and Nathan Frazier is no stranger to the sky. So the high rent district, buddy, as good old JR used to say, the high rent district, man. These guys were taking up rent in the district, and that's in the Sky District, man, because these guys were. I wrote down very flippy, but again, it wasn't. I didn't mean to use the word flippy to just demonetize or demoralize this or patronize it. I thought it was really good. A lot of good outside dives by Ray Phoenix, by Nathan Frazier. Ultimately, Nathan Frazier comes up short as expected. Unfortunately, they're not going. The title change is not going to happen on a. This isn't, what was
No.
that? What was that title? It was, and you're an ECW guy, so you're going to know this. This was not a. I want to say this was a back in 2001. It was on an ECW show. While Mike Awesome worked for
The ECW
WCW,
Television Championship.
and Taz was working for the WWF at the time, but worked on the ECW show and had a WCW title. Do you remember that match?
It was the EC yeah, it was I think it was the ECW
Because I think
Television
Mike
Championship.
Awesome was working for WCW at the time, had a WCW championship, was on an ECW show, and Taz worked for the WWF at the time. And so where I'm going with this is this was not a that type of situation. It was not gonna.
Oh, excuse me, it was the ECW World
No,
Heavyweight
okay.
Championship.
I
It
gotta I
was
gotta
the
research that
ECW
because I'm
World
wearing an
title.
ECW shirt. I don't want to look like a noob here, but for those of you out there, if you're watching, correct me and Tom, help me and Tom out, or I'm sure Tom knows, but help me out here. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Ray Phoenix retains. We were not going to see a title change here. In fact, I think in that match there was a title change. That's why I
No.
alluded to that and used that as an example for you wrestling nerds out there. Really, really good match. I thought. Really good to see. Again, another case, as I've said for the third podcast in
Oh,
a
yeah.
row, the third week. If you put good workers that know how to work in a ring, oh my god, they know how to work. Oh my god, it's a great show. Like, hello, put them in the ring and they'll work well. So this is another case that happened. Like we saw a great match. So um
Right, it's a fantastic match, and again,
yeah,
it's
we
just high
this was one of the
flying at its
highlights of
best, in my
SmackDown for me.
opinion.
Was this? We just gave us a good TV
Oh,
match.
yeah.
Period. Two good workers out there, and they tore the house down. So um another thing that really got me intrigued. I was still on the edge of my seat for this, and it is the was the next thing to follow, if you will, from the earlier Solo Sokoa segment, and this one was
Okay. I'm
so.
back. Sorry
Next up,
about
we
that,
had
folks.
LA Knight and Solo Sokoa's in ring promo. This is a lot of storytelling
Yeah.
here done. Probably one of the most compelling things that branches off from the bloodline, the main bloodline storyline. So a lot of people are invested in this. So I did, even though it's on a match, there's no really result here, but I did want to cover this. The only two things I really wrote down for this, and it kind of encapsulates the entire segment here. LA Knight's like, look, man, you expect me to believe you want? He kind of gets, oh, you want us to work together? Is that so? No, no. You expect me to believe you? Why should I believe it? Because I have nothing to lose. Because I want to end it all. I want to end this family. I want to do it. I have nothing left to lose. That was the key line I wrote down. Was Solo said, "I have nothing left to lose," and then LA Knight goes, "Thanks, but no thanks." Flips the mic off, walks off. Cue the music, and Solo's like, "All right." I hope that this look. obviously Solo Sikoa is wanting to work and be the friend of the enemy of my enemy is my friend type situation. It's the way he's pitching here. But Elliot's like, nah, I've seen this story before. I'm doing it my way. No, 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 no. I'm too smart now. Sorry. But I ultimately, Tom, I hope that Solo is true. I want this to be true because I don't want Solo to go back to Roman's bloodline. I don't. I don't want to see him standing next to Jacob and the Usos and just, I've seen it before. I don't want to see it again. I think Solo should be the one. I think
You
it's
know,
compelling enough to have Solo truly detest the blood, and we see that for sure, and to work against him in LA and finally convince LA Knight that, hey, I am against the bloodline. I told you so, whether you believe me or not. But that has yet to be seen completely. We are just getting bits and pieces. But LA Knight is not convinced. Still not convinced.
all right, I'll tell you one thing. What we could be dealing with in the future is a very desperate
Well, he
Solo.
just lost his family, so yeah, it's the emotions are kicked up now.
We're going to be dealing with a very emotional,
Yeah,
desperate Solo. And I think that a very desperate and very emotional Solo is a
yeah,
dangerous Solo.
yeah.
I'm expecting this man to become dangerous and ruthless because he has no one to back him up, and he's got to have no choice but to pull that animal out of him. He's going to have no choice but to take that desperation and all that emotion, turn it into rage, and become a ruthless animal like he first started as. And I think that we will see in the future a very dangerous, desperate Solo Sokoa.
I hope so. I would rather see that.
I'm
I would
telling you
rather see
now,
that.
I'm putting it on it. I will put money on it. I will put money on it. I'm telling you right now, we're going to end up seeing a very
Well,
dangerous
Tom,
and
I might
desperate
join you.
Solo
I
Sokoa.
might
And if
ante up
that's the
with you because
case,
I'm betting on it too.
I'm really hoping, again, I'm with you on the hoping of not him joining the bloodline, but it looks as though that it's either he's going to become desperate and dangerous, or he's going to become desperate and just end up saying, F it, I'm going to join the bloodline
Which I hope
because I
not.
got
I
no
really hope
choice.
there's somebody that just not everybody needs to fall in line with his bloodline. I think there is
The
some
question is,
dynamic here that someone needs to be against him within the
does
blood that
Solo,
is bloodline, but says, you know what, no, no.
thing does Solo have no choice but to bow down to Roman now? Does he have no choice? Is he left with no
I would say no,
no
because
ultimatum anymore?
maybe again, if somehow LA Knight can be convinced the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and then we might have two coexisting two
I
unlikely
don't. Here's
allies
the thing, though.
against the bloodline in Solo and LA Knight. But we'll see. How that has yet to be seen.
See, well, with LA Knight, man, I really don't. I really hope that they don't team up because LA
Yeah,
Knight
I know. I
is
think so
fine on
too.
his own, but again, they
I
don't
think
have
there can
anything
be
for him right now.
unity without uh, uh um. I think they can work together and not team up, but team up and have unity, but with no strings attached, if you will. At the end of the day, hey, job's done. All right, out of we're
Okay,
done here.
all right. Well,
I wouldn't mind them teaming up.
even that, but I'm guessing they would only do that. I'm guessing the only reason why they do that is because they really don't have anything for LA.
I mean, he's doing. I think he's. I mean, I think this is something. He's in one of the most compelling storylines right now in wrestling.
Well, other than that, I mean, what I mean by that, like, he's
Fair.
not going after
That ship
titles
sailed a
at the
while ago.
moment. He's not.
Unfortunately,
He's not really. He's not really. I mean, he's wrestling, but he's not really wrestling. You know what I mean?
I
It's
wish there
like
was something more for him.
I feel
Yeah.
like this is the only thing for him right now. This is the
unfortunately.
only thing for him at the
And
moment,
that seems he gets
is
he
the
gets stuck in
storyline.
these vortexes, man. He just happens to get stuck in these vortexes.
And I really want him out of this vortex. I
I do
really
too.
want Solo to do this on his own and become a dangerous man like he's truly
Yeah.
meant to be. And because the problem is, John Cena buried him. That's the problem.
I'm gonna no sell that one for now because I don't
WrestleMania,
know too much about it.
he faced he faced John Cena at
Are you talking about
WrestleMania
Theory?
and absolutely got
It
buried.
was Theory.
Talking about when he faced
Oh,
no, it was
Solo.
Solo
But no,
Sikoa
Solo.
and
No, no,
John
no.
Cena.
Solo beat him at what was that pay per view? Solo killed him. What was
Okay,
that?
all right.
I forgot.
All
What was
right,
that
never mind,
one?
never mind. I'm thinking the other way around.
Ever anyway, I forgot. But no, that's all right.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Paint
But
chips.
I will say, someone that did for sure get a victory is Paige. Because next up we do have Paige, the hometown native, going up against JC Jane. And this right here, folks, if you follow me over on TikTok, um, I was jumping for joy for this because this for me was a dream match. JC Jane, a Fatal Influence, probably my favorite on SmackDown right now is JC Jane up against Paige. Um, I'm just gonna give it to you straight. JC does the job via roll up, and Paige goes over here. There was some shenanigans on the outside with Brie Bella, and of course in favor of Paige, and against the rest of the members of Fail Influence, Fallon Henley and Laney Reed, which again I love. I love them. I, did they just give the win because she was in England? Probably, maybe. More than likely just say, hey, you're in England, and here you go. I'm not necessarily against it, but I hate that it came at the expense of JC Jane, much like Ethan right now. He's kind of having a slow organic. JC's is a little different because on SmackDown again, Rhea Ripley, the original thing before Rhea was hurt, looked like JC was building up maybe to possibly SummerSlam. All the reports of creative being adjusted for them. So with that being said, for sure, I think that JC Jane doing the job here kind of stings, but at the same time, I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt and say that we'll get over this. So Paige goes over here.
Yeah, yeah. I know, of course, folks, you probably already know this, beginning how late we are in this review. Um, because everything that's happened over the past weekend. It's just a lot to cover. But with that match, it was a good match. Simple roll up,
It
simple
was
shenanigans. It was good TV.
some really good TV that I think you might have been again. Your segment of the night was Los Garzas against Matt Cardona and Danhausen. Um,
You know what? With Danhausen, man, I love
um,
Danhausen. Go on.
I realize that the Miz and Kit Wilson are. This is a good fit for him right now. I know. It still pains me. I miss the poetry. I miss the theme song. I miss the in-ring wrestling. I don't like it because they're just during this match. They just walked around zombified and just distracted, and I'm like, But anyway,
I
Danhausen wins the match.
absolutely love
Danhausen and
it
Matt
because
Cardona
it's
win the
like
match. So
I love that match because it's like Young Frankenstein. And for those who know that movie is, that's exactly what Danhausen
it's
reminds
not
me
that
of
again.
is
I
Young
don't dislike
Frankenstein.
Danhausen, but because of the expense of Kit Wilson, I unfortunately I'm like, you know what? This is a pile of you know what? Just
I don't
because
know how you can
I miss
say
what he's
that.
doing. I want him as a single star. He's gotten down delicate, but I get it. Kit is a comedy wrestler. I get it. I understand. So I'm willing to be mature about it and just say, you know what? This is a good thing they're doing right now because it's good for the crowd. The kids like it. It's a good reaction. They're working with Danhausen. The most over character right now in WWE is Danhausen. For a period.
Like I said before, man, the more they work with Danhausen, the more over the Miz and the more laughs in the
And
Miz and Kit Wilson are gonna
but but
get.
but 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 do
And
but
I'm
do
telling
Kit
you, you're not
Wilson
gonna
and the
appreciate
Miz
this
need
until
Danhausen to get a laugh? No. You're gonna get me started on this, Tom. Don't get me started, Tom.
No, but it's
No, it's
listen,
not.
it's just better off this
No,
way,
damn
man.
it.
Just accept it. It's better off this way. It's like Young
I'm gonna
Frankenstein
move
is
on, Tom.
absolutely
Are you
incredible.
ready
I
to move
love it.
on? I'm gonna move on.
All right, I'll move on just for the
I
sake
love
of
you,
his
Kit
headache.
Wilson. Anyway, you're the true real man. Anyway, next up we have Jade and Chelsea Green. Chelsea coming back to get her comeuppance for one Tiffany Stratton, who was beaten up earlier in the show. Um, this time, so
Yep.
Jade goes over in a valiant effort from Chelsea. Unfortunately, she does not go over here. She gets a glam slam, whatever you want to call it, for the win. Jade picks up the win. Tiffany saves this time. So now Tiffany has returned the favor within the same show, within the same broadcast. So I would say at this point that I'm like, okay, now they're saying, you know what? We need to. Tiffany's like, look, Chelsea, I keep telling you, I don't need to do this. I can do it on my own. I don't need you. You've ridiculed me in the past. Tacky Tiffy, remember that? But then she comes to the aid
Yeah, I
now of
remember
Chelsea.
that.
So maybe another, hey, the enemy and my enemy is my friend type thing. We'll work together, a cohesive unit up against Jade Cargill. We'll see how this plans out. But Jade ultimately gets the win here. Chelsea Green. I like, and maybe you have a comment on this, Tom. I like that Chelsea Green makes the most of her minutes when she's on TV. She makes sure she makes sure that we pay attention. She makes the most of everything. So
Right. And I like that. I
it
like that
keeps
she
me
does.
captivated
I do. Uh
for
it
sure.
does keep me captivated. It does. It does. I really don't have a comment on that because again, you have I said it before and I don't want to repeat myself, but you had, Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton, forming up a tag team and going against that
Yeah.
tag team championships. I think it would help it would help the women's tag team division. And that's what they need, man. They need more women teams. They need more women teams,
All right. Fair enough.
and that's it.
So we move on to our last match of the night. Another England born native, Julia. And here is the kicker for the program. I would say that a lot of it, for me, for sure. Um, Julia faces Kiana James in their blow off match. This has been brewing. We saw the breakup not too long ago. Now we finally get to this match. And you know what? For the last match of the night, I actually thought was really good. Kiana James, from the facial expressions to the way she moves in the ring, no waste of motion, athletic as hell. I mean, just built, toned, chipped away, man, built like a chisel. I love this. I love Kiana James so much, man. Maybe one of arguably in my top, probably in my top three, maybe on SmackDown, but it has to be debated. Um, Top five for sure. Um, Julia does pick up the win here. I was like, okay, a Julia win, a meaningful Julia win finally. But then in London, England, where they're both from, again, remember Julia is also born in England. Okay, let's not forget that she's Japanese and Italian. Her home is Japan, but she was born in England, so still a whole England native. Against another England native in Blake Monroe. Finally, Veer Mahan, Blake Monroe has come to Friday Night SmackDown again. Does WWE, I got a lot to say here,
Yep.
Tom, and I got a question. Does WWE just want us to forget that there was a random 10-second interaction between her and Chelsea Green about what, a month ago? Nevertheless, Tom, Blake is on SmackDown, and I've said this before, Tom. She should go after. It's right there. Go after Tiffany. WWE, it's right there. Go after Tiffany Stratton, the U.S. Championship. However, we see that Tiffany's busy at the moment, as we discussed. So the next best thing, and I might love this more because of the history and stardom. Again, very Americanized. You stardom fans, very Americanized. You understand the history here in Japan. But Blake Monroe attacks Julie after she picks up the win You could say that this wasn't the most compelling thing ever, but boy, I think again, the way WWE set this up, the vignettes coming soon, the Veer Mahan treatment, if you know, you know. But does the history here, is it going to, I don't think we need to ask the question, Tom, what's the story? I think we need to ask, will WWE capitalize on this history and do it right? I'm just glad she's here.
Well, you want my honesty on this? Yeah, here's my honesty. I'm glad that she's here, but you know what? Here's my honesty about this. And folks, warning, I'm about to be very blunt and honest with it. You tease for weeks vendettas, promos of her going after probably one of the top women of today's division. And then you have her just come blatantly attack someone from behind that she has prior history with. Why? Why? I get it. They have history. It would be amazing to see. But why did you give us those teases just for her to attack somebody that she didn't even
If
mention?
well, actually, Tom, if you remember, last week, remember we covered this. In the last vignette or last diary entry, the last one she did was Julia. So she did mention her, but the story wasn't exactly there. I think that's where you're trying to get right. The story is not built up to what we
Exactly. The
think it should
story
have been.
wasn't really all right. So, right.
Got it.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to say here, folks. I apologize. Um, you know, it
Yeah,
it's not what it
I
should have
agree. No,
been.
I agree.
And I'm not hating on Blake Monroe's debut. I'm not well, I am in a way, to be blunt honest. I don't it doesn't make sense to me as to why you just blatantly do this. You had other opportunities that you could have put her with, it would have been a little bit more better.
Sure. And again, here's the thing: is
Well, I think you know what really bummed it out was Rhea getting injured, and I think Rhea was gonna be her main target.
and here's the thing: when she started doing these diary entries and calling out the women of SmackDown,
I don't know.
Rhea, Charlotte, Tiffany, Julia. When she called out Rhea, I went, oh no, don't do that." Because at the time, before Rhea got injured, I was like, "You're mean to tell me that Blake Monroe is going to take the title off of Rhea Ripley? No way. No, there's no way." Because at the time, but again, before Rhea was injured, the 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 WWE title division, women's division on SmackDown looked just fine. How are you going to fit Blake Monroe in there? How? And believably build a story for her to take out. I said, don't do this. Please don't do that. Don't. Then she started to call different people out, and I went, okay,
Again, I'm just
she's just
confused with
calling
the whole
different people out and
situation.
right. It's like the girl in the bedroom type thing, just writing people. Okay, and then, but the one she did go after, here's the kicker: she went after Julia. That's the one. That's especially. She has no history with Charlotte. She has no history with Rhea. She has no history with Tiffany. She had it with Julia, and unfortunately, I agree that it's not enough. For a lot of people, as yourself, it's not. Could have done something better. For me personally, I will agree that there could have
Yep.
been a lot more here they could have done, and I've done this in a lot more compelling way. Unfortunately, from here on out, I'm over here looking to the future and going, man, whatever history they have, they better capitalize on it. They need to capitalize on this because if they don't, it's going to be a blunder. And I,
Yeah,
as a Julia
and for
and a
sure. And
Blake Monroe fan, my two top right now, Julia, Blake. Period. No one tops them for me. I said JC earlier in no particular order. JC, Blake, Julia. There, Julia and Blake. They better capitalize on this
I agree.
because if they don't,
I agree.
I'm going to be very disappointed, Tom. I'm going to be disappointed. So
You're
ultimately,
gonna
though,
be disappointed. But you and a lot of other
ultimately
people as
though,
well.
I do hope that the goal here is for Blake to get that U.S. championship. That's what I ultimately hope for.
Yeah.
So in our final segment, we get a bunch: Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Gunther, and Oba Femi. Of all people, Oba Femi. It was a precursor to Night of Champions and what the future is going to look like for this title scene. As now we know, of course, Sami Zayn, as the recording of this, might as well say it, Sami Zayn is now our WWE champion. I this
Yep.
segment right here, a lot of compelling characters in this segment. I liked it. It ultimately ended with Cody Rhodes and Oba Femi, with the WWE title. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, so Oba Femi, if he wins, he's eyeing Cody. Oh, that changes. Of course, we got to where we are now, as we've seen that's not necessarily the case. Um, I thought it was a great segment. Of course, before Night of Champions, it was a good go home segment, if you will, for Night of Champions. Um, that closes out SmackDown for us. Did you have any comments on that, Tom, on that particular segment to close out Night SmackDown before Night of Champions?
You know, I knew Oba was gonna go over. Everybody, of course, knew that. It was obviously waiting on that. Everyone was waiting on that, expecting that.
It looked like Oba
Capitalize. It was a good
was
moment,
gonna go for the
but
title. It was
it
gonna
was
yes.
10 times
So
better than that, man.
now that closes out SmackDown, and that was our SmackDown review. I think it's a good segue into our Monday Night Raw review, which just happened tonight. So this is a little more up to date. This is our June 29th Raw review. Correct, Tom? It's June 29th? Okay.
Yep. This is our
And
June
as we
twenty
said at the
ninth
beginning of this
Raw review.
podcast, comparing in comparison to both shows, Raw is significantly better than SmackDown right now. And boy, what a
Yeah.
great segment to kick off Monday Night Raw, as we have Oba Femini open the show. Our brand new, and again, I mean, we just have to kind of forgive the time slot uh, mishaps here. We're gonna have to. We
Folks,
have a
we
lot to
have
cover.
lives.
Oba
We
Femi
have
comes
lives.
out as our new King of the Ring. We will get to that later. That's for in Gorilla. We'll get to that later.
But
Brock
let's get
Lesnar.
right to the chase, man. Oba cuts one of the greatest promos I've seen. He does, like he usually does. And then you hear Brock
Dun,
Lesnar's
dun,
music.
dun, 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 dun.
Talk about jaw dropping. I was not expecting that. Now, folks, I was expecting him to cost Oba. I was wrong yet again. What a shock there. Now, folks, you're gonna notice that I'm gonna be wrong a lot. But needless to say, in all seriousness, you have Brock music hits. Here comes Brock. He enters the ring. Paul Heyman gives him the mic, and possibly one of the greatest promos Brock could ever give. He kicks Oba, the king of the
Yeah.
ring,
And
square
the
in the
interesting
nuts.
the
And Oba says, "This is what you do. You show up, you F5, and you leave. You say that I talk about you behind your back. Here I am face to face, and you're still a bitch." Which leads to one of the greatest announcements that we've heard. Heel, tell us what that is, man.
Tom,
Please, I'm
I'm
dying to
about to
know.
if you don't know, Tom, I'm about to fill you in. An interesting precursor an interesting
Oh, I
precursor
know,
is
but
that Brock Lesnar
I
did
do
acknowledge,
know.
"Oh, Oba, you're good at a lot of things. Paul has to fill me in. I'm not a good promo guy myself, but that's why I've got Paul, arguably the greatest promo guy in the business, and he filled me in. You like to call me names. After getting kicked in the nuts,
Yep.
which I mean, it's in hindsight, it's kind of Oba kind of deserved that one because called Brock a bitch, and Brock ain't gonna take that sitting down. Brock leaves the ring. Oba grabs the mic again, is like,
Oh,
Brock,
absolutely not.
you're still a bitch, but we need to settle this once and for all. If you want to continue to play the game of cat and rat all day long, you can do it We
We
can
can
do this
play
at
cat and rat
SummerSlam.
all
And
day
at
long.
SummerSlam, Tom, we are going to get announced and pitched by Brock Lesnar. Not only are we going to get a SummerSlam match, one on one, one on
And
one
confirmed
for the final time.
in one of my favorite matches
And
in
folks,
WWE history.
it's going to
The
be
most brutalist
hell
match
in a
ever
cell.
in a cell.
Uh,
And let me tell you, Brock has won. He's been in the Hell in a Cell. He's had faced none other than The
and that
Undertaker
was a really
in
good
the Hell
one.
in a
That
Cell.
was a really
And one
good
of
Hell in a Cell
possibly the
match.
most, it was so brutal. And it was brutal, man. That Hell in a Cell. I mean, you got two
Yeah.
monstrous of men. No water, no bread, just meat
Yeah, I
inside
got
a
one. Okay, I'll put it
cage.
this way: if no one has seen the Brock Lesnar Undertaker match at No Mercy 2002 Hell in a Cell, I got two words for you,
Go
and it's
watch it.
not second. Crimson Mask.
Watch it.
Crimson Mask.
Me is watch it. Oh, 100%. But you know what's funny about this? You know, Michael Cole said it, I believe, is that is this Hell in a Cell going to keep these two men inside?
Oh,
Absolutely not.
those two animals are going to break out of that cage.
Absolutely not.
And look, here's the thing.
They're
Here's
gonna
the
break
thing.
out of that cage.
As an NXT call up, dude, he was in NXT not long ago. We are seeing this may be, dude. Imagine
I
the
know.
thumbs up that WWE is getting. I gotta say this, look, man. Obafemi is the best treated, the most well treated NXT call up in a long time. The thumbs up that WWE has to be giving this young buck in Obafemi to have a program with Brock Lesnar, retire him at the grandest stage of them all, retire at WrestleMania to do the trilogy, to do
Then
the
have him one
trilogy,
of the most
and the trilogy ender to be in Brock's hometown
not
at
only that,
SummerSlam in a Hell in a Cell match.
no, not only that, you also have him
And
win
King of
one
the
of the
Ring.
most
I
prestige
mean, dude,
prizes of WWE
again,
history, the
it's
King of
a
the Ring.
Brock Lesnar esque meteoric rise in 2002.
I'm sorry, but you can't. I'm sorry, but I don't think he can get
I don't
any
think so either.
higher than what he is right now. I really don't. I think there at this point, there's besides the
I
world
think he's beyond the world
titles that
title.
he's
It's
gonna
crazy that
have,
it almost feels like he's
there
beyond the world title right now.
is beyond it at this point. I agree, he's beyond it at this point, and there's nothing. There's no ceiling left. There's no ceiling left. It's just glass fragments at this point that he's just
I mean,
grabbing onto.
he's breaking
And
through
I don't mean that
ceilings,
in a bad way.
sweeping up the glass fragments, building a new ceiling to break through again.
Just to break through it again. And I don't think, I do not see Obafemi ever, ever losing a spot.
You know
Ever.
what, man?
I don't, what I mean by that, I mean, like, this man is going to, in his early 40s, is going to hit Hall of Fame status.
Probably before that. The guy is only what, 26, 27 years old?
I think he's already half. I think he's already half. I think he's already half at this point. Winning King of the Ring, retiring Brock Lesnar as a that's like beating the streak, man. I hate to say that, but comparing it to the streak, I don't want to compare it to the streak because the streak is
Yeah,
probably the most amazing thing that's ever happened. But with comparing to the streak being broken and Oba and Brock retiring,
yeah,
they're neck and neck.
yeah.
For me, they're neck and neck. You don't get any bigger than that. And you know what? I don't care if Oba doesn't ever get a title. He really, at this point, he doesn't need it.
Here's the thing, man.
At this point, he doesn't need it.
Here's the thing. I, of course, was waiting.
Because like he said in the backstage
Uh,
segment, the titles aren't going anywhere. They can wait.
like, dude.
He's right. They're not going anywhere. They're
I
not
now
gonna
the
go
of course,
anywhere.
before now the announcement I thought was going to be like, "Brock, we need to do this one more time in your hometown in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and if I beat you this time, your career's over." And Brock probably went, "I'm not going anywhere, don't worry, I'm gonna beat you," Okay, no. Hell in a Cell. That's what right.
They're treating this as serious as they possibly can, bro. They are treating this as
And here's the
serious
thing,
as they
it
can
threw
with
me
this
for a loop
storyline.
because I went Oba went straight the way Oba
But
won
the
King
question
everybody,
is,
the discourse was that Brock Lesnar was gonna cost Oba at every
my
and he
question
didn't. Oba went just bam, right down the middle. There was no shenanigans from Brock, there was no Brock.
straight through everybody
He just
like a
won King of the
truck.
Ring, and that was it. So,
This man,
I was like, "Wow, no Brock Lesnar." He didn't do that. Brock just sat and waited. He didn't watch the show. Paul had to fill him in apparently, but the fact that they let Oba no,
you
not
really
really,
don't think that he
but
doesn't
of
watch the
course,
show?
Oba just
I
Oba
believe he kinda does. I
going
don't think he does.
Oba going
I kinda see it.
over just straight up bam, right down the middle. There was no shenanigans. So I thought, okay, when are they gonna do Brock and Oba? Is it really gonna be Roman or Cody? No, no.
But this is the thing I love about the WWE right now. If there's one thing I love about the WWE right now, they keep you guessing. And that's what they used to do. They used to
I
keep you
didn't see it
guessing,
coming.
man. They always gave the fans something to come to talk about. To be honest, what do you mean you saw it coming? A
No,
couple
no,
of
no.
podcasts
I
ago,
did
you
see it.
agreed
I
with
did
me
see it
that
coming.
Brock was gonna.
I didn't. No, no, no. I
Oh, I
didn't see
thought
it
you said
coming.
you
That's
did.
the
My
thing.
bad. My fault. My fault.
Um,
My,
well, after it is official, and we see, of course, Oba backstage. We see Oba backstage talking to Adam Pearce, and he's like, "Look, man,
but here's my
the titles
question.
can wait. Me and Brock, are you sure, Oba, you want to do this? Yes, the titles can wait. This needs to happen. I'm going to be
Yes,
the one to finish this.
and you
Yeah,
know what? I think it needs to be done. I think in his mind it needs to be done. And my next question is, does Brock Lesnar retire inside the Hell in a Cell and Minneapolis, Minnesota at SummerSlam? His
I'm not going to answer
pay-per-view?
that right now because I don't know the answer. I don't know. I truly don't know.
And this is what I'm talking about, folks. This is what I love about the WWE right now. Anything can happen at this point. The future is so uncertain for the WWE, and what I mean by that is we don't know what's going to happen down the line anymore. We are they have finally found a way to keep the fans out of touch, out of sight, and then keep surprising them. Yeah, they give us here
I'm
and
gonna
there some
reference
things
what
that
you
we're
just
gonna
said in a
obviously
future
know.
episode of Ben Gorilla. I'm gonna reference what you just said. I will. I will.
Take note of that. Please go ahead, take note. Because because this is probably WWE at its best. And if this is what WWE has to offer, folks, you AEW marks, as much as I like AEW, I'm sorry, but AEW has no chance. No chance when it comes to being competition. If WWE continues to deliver the way they're delivering to this day at this very moment, there's no
Tell that to
chance.
Darby Allen.
There's
Tell that
no
to
chance.
Darby Allen taking a face plant on thumbtacks. But
Even with Darby Allen, listen, even with Darby Allen, even with the death match, even with MJF, even with Swerve, even with Will Ospreay, they still have to develop their future. They're still developing their future. WWE has no end. They have no end. They all they do is look at the future. Man, by the time we're talking right now, they're already hit past WrestleMania plans. They have already done more than
that's an interesting
WrestleMania.
take. So then we now move on to our next segment. We now
They're
move on
so
to our
ahead,
next
it's not even
segment,
funny.
Tom. We have a Joe Hendry concert, which of course is a crowd pleaser for sure. Joe Hendry being very talented. I know for one, I like to see a good Joe Hendry concert every now and then. And so he is joined by the Street
Even
Profits,
Joe
our new, by
Hendry.
the way, got it. reference this, our new tag team champions, world tag team champions, the Street Profits. However, I think it,
Five-time,
I think it was four or
five-time,
five. I can't remember.
five-time
I think it was five.
tag team champion.
I think it's five.
Five, five, five-time, five-time, five-time tag team champions.
The former tag
Street
team
Profits.
champion, Austin Theory,
Love them boys.
he interrupts and sets up a match with Joe
All the
Hendry. Joe doesn't like him, obviously, interrupting his concert, so he sets up a match. Joe goes over here. Joe Hendry straight up wins the match, which I kind of expected. I was like, Austin Theory, you're talking too much. Austin Theory,
yeah,
you're
oh,
talking
come
too
on, we all
much.
know that was
Yeah,
gonna
of course,
happen.
Joe Hendry's going to go over here. Um, Shortly after that, we have another promo, I guess, if you will. A little more story centered here. We have Io Sky. Again, at the end of recording of this podcast, I'm sure you guys are going to know once this drops. Io Sky is now our new Queen of the Ring. Thank you very much, Io Sky. And she has a promo with Liv Morgan. Now, Liv comes out, and again, I like how Liv is very vindictive. She's very sassy, vindictive about this, and she says, "Look, the only reason why you
Live is
lost
being
or you
live.
won, and now I can't respect you, by the way, because you pissed me off, is because that dumbass Danhausen cursed me. Liv Morgan, that's the only reason why. But I don't know that that's the case.
Listen, rules number one of
I think Io Sky is just better than you.
listen,
But okay.
rule number one of dealing with Danhausen: do not be
Oh, bad
rude
things
to
happen to me.
Danhausen.
Well, you are cursed.
No, you are cursed. And then she had the audacity to slap in the face.
Yeah, I know. Um, so during this segment, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, of course, come to the aid or ambushing, if you will, and they finally get the upper hand on Io Sky, attacking her knee, setting up building to of course
Yeah,
towards SummerSlam, which of course Io Sky has chosen. So we have SummerSlam to look forward to. This might be an interesting build. Go ahead.
I like to bring this up. I got into an argument on TikTok with one wrestling fan. He doesn't like his claim is, and if you're watching this, God forbid, I'm sorry, man, but if you're watching this, he argued that he doesn't like the fact that Io Sky announced her challenge at SummerSlam. But what he doesn't, if anyone that watches New Japan Pro Wrestling or any other promotion, they do that at some pay-per-views and some promotions. In fact, I think it's tradition. If I'm not mistaken, it might be a traditional thing to do for the Japanese wrestler to challenge the challenge to champion right then and there. What is the problem with that? What is the problem with Io
I mean, we
Sky
knew that.
challenging Liv
We
Morgan
kind of
right
knew
then
that.
and there?
Didn't have to say anything.
Everyone knew it was gonna happen. Everyone knew. You didn't have to say anything, but again, what is the problem with her saying, "Hey, it's you and me at
Yeah,
SummerSlam"? When by the way, they have opportunities
yeah,
to go after other championships. Yeah, obviously, we're not gonna have Io Sky versus the women's champion. But you know what?
yeah,
Buddy, get over it.
yeah.
She challenged Liv Morgan. She did it at SummerSlam. Mm, how else did
Exactly,
you want her to do it?
exactly.
You're gonna have to announce it.
Um,
Why waste a segment on Raw for that when you can announce it right then and there at the event
Very fair point.
itself at SummerSlam?
Another thing I wanted to know, of course, since we're talking about Raquel, we saw a lot of Raquel Rodriguez on this program, by the way, which I actually liked. I don't mind. I like seeing Raquel Rodriguez on my television screen for various reasons. I think she's wonderful. We did see her talking to Adam Pierce backstage, and Adam Pierce has already had it up to here with this show. He needs a drink already. Um, Raquel Rodriguez is like, okay, well, how am I not lying next for the IC title? Which I was like, are they really going with this? Because last week you didn't seem too keen for it, but now you seem really gung ho. But that's neither here nor there, or whatever. So Raquel Rodriguez is like, you know what, Adam Pierce, I need me an IC champ. But well, he brings up Maxine Dupree. What the hell? What has Maxine Dupree done? And he's like, she's a former IC champion. Anyway, he sets up a match between Raquel Rodriguez and Maxine Dupree later to come in the show, as a spoiler for those of you who didn't watch it yet. Um, I don't really mind, but at the same time, I'm like, again, you weren't too keen on it last week because you just kind of were told you're going after it by Liv Morgan, and then now all of a sudden you're just like, "Yo, yeah, I'm gung ho on it." I don't. I want Raquel Rodriguez to think on her own, not at the expense of Liv Morgan. I don't like that. But anyway, we then get to a rematch from last week. I guess they didn't like how it went down, apparently. LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso. And this time, it's the same, but it's different. And here's what I mean. So I guess we're running it back. And it's not Jay Uso running it back, it's Jimmy Uso running it back, this
Back
time
to
with
the
LA Knight.
vortex.
In pretty much the same match as last week. It's still a decent chemistry in the ring. Nothing
And
spectacular
you know
really
what?
happened, but
Again,
I will say it was a good match. Overall, Jimmy Uso gets the win this time. So now they're 1-1 back to back weeks. Will we see a trilogy? Maybe, maybe not. But the kicker here was that LA Knight was a little pissed, because he didn't get the win. Starts attacking Jimmy. Jay, who's at ringside on commentary, comes in for the save. Solo Sikoa shows up and spikes Jimmy Uso as Jay is putting the stops to LA Knight. And, we get a little mocking from Solo as we usually do. And again, this is what I was alluding to. LA Knight's like, you know, confused, like, what? Like, yeah, but the thing is, does LA Knight seem a little more like, okay, maybe I can trust you? Maybe I can actually trust you here, Solo. Your thoughts, Tom?
as I was trying to rib you before, just a little bit just now,
I
but
had
it did
no,
not
I know,
work.
I had to know sell it.
See that man? This guy, this guy can know sell my stuff, man. And expect me to try to rib him throughout this entire podcast and the entire show because I love to do that to people. Um, my thoughts, honestly, again, LA Knight being stuck in the bloodline for Dex. We see another repeat
Yeah,
match and it ends differently. Uh, but I was kind of expected this time for them to be like, okay, we see eye to eye now. I
yeah,
kind of expected that to happen in a way because again, leading up to
right.
last week, SmackDown up until now, it's quite obvious. Again, guys, this is what I mean by when the WWE gives us points to where it's obvious and points to where they keep us guessing. This is one of the points where it's quite obvious. But again, yeah, great match, honestly. I think LA Knight is just one of those talents where he can work with pretty much
And,
anybody.
again, here's the thing: with Solo spiking Jimmy for the second time, it makes you think
Yeah.
again. Can LA Knight actually trust him? Almost through Raw. Don't worry, folks. We're almost through Raw. But again, it makes it with me. Oh, and by the way,
Yeah, we are.
um, speaking of Raquel Rodriguez and Maxine Dupree, how I brought up earlier. Now later on, of course, I think actually up next, we do see Raquel Rodriguez versus Maxine Dupree, and in my mind, I mean, I think that Raquel Rodriguez actually made pretty light work,
Love Pepsi.
rather made light work of Maxine Dupree.
No, folks, we're
Maxine
not
Dupree
sponsored
comes
by
up with
anybody.
like the Stacy Keebler esque, that spinning heel, perfectly catches it. Raquel Rodriguez with a nasty Tahana bomb, 1, 2, 3. I was like, good. I thought that was great that Raquel Rodriguez is getting a win. Awesome. And now she's next in line for an IC title run against Sol Ruka. We see then Maxine Dupree backstage. And this time we see her talking to Austin Theory a little more prominently, if you will. And what I mean by that is for the past month, maybe more, we've seen Austin Theory in the background talking to Maxine Dupree. And I was like, okay, well, what is this? Are they together? Does he want her to be a Paul Heyman girl and be join the Vision? Well, Austin's like, look, pretty much cut and dry. We see Maxine Dupree backstage, icing her head after the match with Raquel Rodriguez. And Austin Theory's like, look, maybe this isn't working out. And I was like, Are they together? Am I missing something here? Is this a love angle? I don't know. I mean, is it did he want to join the Vision? I don't know. But then we see, of course, Akira Tozawa and Otis. We see
It
Otis
seemed like they were
accompanying
dating.
her and comforting her right after
It did
that.
make Yeah, it really did make it seem like the
I'm
both of them
like,
were dating at one
it's
point
probably
in
it was
some sort of way or
probably
another. I
more
don't
of
know
a
what that
bloodline
I
or
don't know what he meant
of
by that.
a Vision thing, but it did give a little vibe of, hey, this isn't working out.
I didn't know that Maxine Dupree was part of the division.
I
I didn't know that she
I
was part of
thought,
the
well,
division.
again, I mean, it only led you to believe that Austin Theory, the little again, if you guys have been paying attention for the past month or 2 or more than 2 months, we've seen Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree just kinda off in the background and, like, other people's segments talking and only to lead us to believe, "Okay, well, that's a little Easter egg. What are they doing back there?" We assumed that, or I assumed that WWE was like, okay, now that we have Austin and Maxine, maybe Austin's trying to pull her into the Vision and have her change. Of course, I remember what happened to Chad Gable, what, last week or 2 weeks ago, when she told Chad Gable to pretty much F off. I was like, oh, Austin Theory's working on her. Okay, she might be turning heel and coming into the Vision. Well, again, we then see Austin Theory. He's like, okay, well, you lost your match. You're really focused right now. Maybe this isn't working out. And I was like, the Vision, or are you dating, or what? Am I missing something here? Maybe I am, and I wasn't paying attention. But nevertheless, we then see Otis and Akira Tozawa, her friends, come to her aid, and she's like, "I don't know if I'm fine," and walks off. And they're like, I just thought that was an interesting snippet from the show. From that was an interesting segment because it
Yeah,
tied into some Vision stuff.
I thought it was interesting. Which we may see another you would we might see Alpha
Possibly,
Academy
I don't.
reunite.
I'm eager to see what happens with Maxine Dupree. Honestly, we might see that. You never know. But I know what I saw, and boy, what I saw next really kind of made my skin crawl. And that was a Lyra Valkyria vignette,
Mm-hmm.
an explanation, if you will, as to her actions attacking Bailey in London. Um, immediately, dude.
Talk about chills,
Here's the
man.
thing.
I didn't think that
Oh,
what I
I
say
knew,
she was
of
gonna
course.
cook as a
And here's the
heel.
thing, dude.
What I say.
I knew that she, again. We
Oh
both knew, if you've seen her heel work on the independent scene or before WWE, the girl's great. But this vignette right here,
yeah.
they had the lighting
Oh
right, the
yeah.
hair was in her face and messed. She looked like she had not slept for a week. The skin was pale, no makeup, maybe some slight coloring right here to really bring up the effect and whatnot. But it looked like the girl, no makeup on, and just looked
Yeah.
like just
She hasn't slept
dying.
in days.
This girl's just getting ready to die in the face. Like, she's dead, and is a new Lyra. And the thing that she was trying to home in on here was that look. It just felt good. I didn't want to do that to her, but it just felt good because of the
I
gap
didn't
was
want
so
to.
big between who I am and who I could be, and I closed it.
This is what I mean by this what gave me chills. This is what I mean what it gave me chills, heel. This is what I meant. When she looked in that camera and says, I didn't want to, but it felt good.
Yeah,
Oh man. We seen a disturbing that's for if you really think about it, the average normal human being would be sitting next to somebody and that someone and they just beat the hell out of somebody and they just turned
mhm,
and looked at somebody
yeah,
normal and just said, I didn't want to do this,
yeah.
but it felt good.
It is.
That's scary,
It
man.
is.
That's scary. I wonder how dangerous
Um,
this woman is going to be now. Now she's now and let me break this down.
sure. Go ahead.
Let me do my breakdown here. We're so used to Lyra Valkyria being a face, right? We haven't seen her be a heel in a very long time. I don't remember her being this way as a heel. I really don't. Not like this.
Yeah.
Not like this. This is a different to me, this is a different Lyra Valkyria. This is a very unpredictable, very, you know,
Yeah,
can be very violent. This is gonna be a very I'm telling you, everyone's expecting this to happen, but man, when I say this gave me chills, this is the best I've
yeah.
seen like her, Valkyria.
Now,
This
when
is
I
the
seen
best
her
I've
on
seen
the when I seen her
Lyra.
on the independent
The
scene,
best.
I remember her heel work being a little more like snarky and sassy, and I'm better than you, kind of like that. It's just a
Snarky,
normal,
sassy.
kind of snarky.
This is
This right here is a little more
unpredictable.
disturb driven.
This serious. This is an unpredictable
It. Oh yeah.
Lyra Valkyria. A very
Oh,
evil,
yes.
unpredictable, maniacal
And now I will say
Lyra
that this
Valkyria. And
program,
this is going to be the greatest version of
I
Lyra
think that,
Valkyria we
and
will
I think we
ever
can both agree on
see.
this. I think that this program right here between Lyra Valkyria and Bailey deserves to be on SummerSlam. Yeah. They gotta
100%.
fit this match. They've
100%
got to
without
fit
a
this
doubt.
match
But
on SummerSlam.
we
2 nights.
have,
Come on.
but we have Saturday night main event coming up though.
I hope
So it
not.
might be a
I
Saturday
hope
night
not.
main event
I
match.
really hope not.
I hope
I
not
mean,
either. You know what I really hope for? You know what I really hope for? And I don't mean to be loud
go ahead.
because my wife is sleeping right next to me. What I'm really hoping for is a very
Yeah.
prolonged story with this, not a one and done. I want this to be a milker. I want them to
I
milk
mean,
this as much
as
as they
much crap
can
as they did the way they
because
booked them, they better have a good payoff.
they need to have a. This is another
Yeah.
one where they need to have a
Yeah.
good payoff. There's another one. I mean, even if the payoff is not good, it will not hurt Lyra.
Well,
It's not going to hurt Lyra.
someone else who I know you're very interested in, Tom, and who we see up next, is Chad Gable versus JD McDonough. Um, and again, we're just kind of skimming through it, if you
Such a
will.
great ring
Chad Gable
performer.
ends up subbing JD McDonough and tapping him out in a very good match, locks in a very nasty ankle lock, and JD taps. But before that, what leads up to it is, of course, Danhausen comes out and gets his revenge on Dom, who stole his Knicks jersey that was given to him by the Knicks for helping them win the
Yeah,
championship. You guys know the lore there. I don't have to explain it. Tom, I know, is obsessed with that stuff. That's all right. He's a Danhausen mark. I don't know if you guys know that by now, but Danhausen does come to he steals back
I
his
love
Knicks
that
jersey because
Danhausen.
Dom and JD tore his own little layer, if you will, his little nerdy layer and his Knicks jersey and stole it. And this is just so. Danhausen is such an interchangeable and versatile character. He can work either show and work so many different characters and have so many different interactions. But Chad Gable ultimately ends up subbing JD McDonough and he gets the win. Um, Really quickly, a report recently, and we won't have to cover this on Angarilla because it's kind of a more minor story, so we'll just say it here. And of course, Tom, if you're okay with that. Um, the reason for Chad Gable's new clapping, this thing right here that he does, apparently it has roots from a Minnesota football team cheer, and of course Chad Gable is from Minnesota, so
Hmm.
that is a Minnesota thing, and that's
Yeah. Very interesting fact that both Brock Lesnar and Chad
yeah.
Gable are both
So
from
that's why
Minnesota.
if you were wondering why he did that, and people are like, ugh, it's a
It's a
Minnesota
Minnesota thing.
tribute, so
It's a
okay,
Minnesota
like
thing.
we can. It's not just some
Yeah.
random thing that was pitched. No, this is something that has a meaning behind it. So I said, okay. So
Yeah, it had a meaning behind it.
we do get to our main for a back-to-back show where
Uh, Main event, main segment, really. And heel, I cannot wait to talk about this. This is a match I've been waiting for since gosh,
in a nutshell,
WrestleMania
Roman
41.
Reigns and Jacob Fatu come out to close the show. It was interrupted by none other than Seth frickin' Rollins. And the archetype,
the archetype,
the architect, Seth
the
Rollins,
architect, the
the
architect, the
visionary, the
architect.
revolutionary, Seth Rollins. He did. Remember,
What's your problem with
he
Seth
didn't sell
Rollins?
out. He bought in, and that would be the precursor to.
Right, he
That
did.
would be the
So he
precursor and
bought in.
set the tone for this because, in a nutshell, Seth Rollins says, "Look, man, your storied career, first ballot Hall of Famer, everything dating back to as far back as we can go. I own your ass. No matter what you've done, well, you want to go back? Okay, well, and Seth Rollins runs him down memory lane from WrestleMania 41, WrestleMania 40, the greatest cash in of all time. And he says, look, ever since I put that steel chair in your back, I've owned you, and you owe me. The one thing you've never been able to do, Roman, is beat me. So this is a match, ladies and gentlemen, and Tom. I mean, I'm excited for this. This is a you talk about long term storytelling, arguably the best told story of the modern era. How they, like Seth Rollins said, kicked out and pushed out a whole generation to invent the greatest generation we've ever seen on our backs. Tom, I think that if anybody could cook Seth on the mic, if I would have liked to see if I would have liked to see Roman cook anybody on the mic, it would have been Seth. I think there's enough ammunition here that Roman can cook Seth on the mic. It just won't happen yet because we close out Monday Night Raw. We see
I
Raw
disagree.
being, and I'll let you. I want you to chime in here in just a moment, Tom. We do see Roman say, "Look, you know what? You're in a nutshell. You know what? You're right. I've never beat you, but with this championship, I don't know if you're just you must be confused, but you're at the back of the line." And Seth's like, "No, when it comes to you, I'm always at the front of the line." So Roman obliges. He plays in. He says, "You know what? At SummerSlam, I don't want to beat you. I have to beat you. That's what I will do." And
I
that's
have
the
to beat
kicker.
you.
And that right there,
And you
Roman
know
exits
what?
the ring.
Roman does have to beat Seth. He
I
doesn't
think he
need
does too.
to. He
I
has
think he
to.
will. I think Roman will beat Seth this time around. He will. I think he
I
will.
think so. Of course he is. Of
You know,
course
and
he will.
Seth Rollins' whole thing is like, look, man, I own you. You owe me. You never beat me, and that title's mine. I never lost it. That World Heavyweight Championship, that's mine, not yours. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it and
sure, of
let
course.
me get my train of thought here. Uh, you know, it, two arguably the most biggest superstars of 2015, Roman Reigns and Seth
No,
Rollins.
the biggest star of 2015 was Curtis Axel, the genesis of McGillicuddy.
Uh, yeah. Well, realistically, um, we're gonna go with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. This is probably going to be a match
Oh
made
yeah,
in the
we're gonna
history
look back on this
books.
match when everything's said and done, and these guys are in the Hall of Fame.
We're
We're gonna
gonna
look
look
back
back
on
on
this
this
match.
match.
Yeah,
This is gonna be one of those. That being said,
I think it was a good Raw. I think it was really good.
it
I
was a
think
good
this was
Raw.
awesome.
Honestly, it was I think it was a fantastic Raw. Now I'm wondering what
Well, we
SmackDown
will
is
find
gonna
out
look
next
like.
week when we have both Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown coming your way, of course. But join us next time on the next episode of the Wrestling with Marks, Tom and Harrison podcast for our second installment our third installment, our third,
In
our
Gorilla.
third installment
Third installment.
of In Gorilla. And I think you guys are going to enjoy that one because we have a
In Gorilla.
lot of wrestling to cover, not just WWE. We're going to step outside of that and cover pretty much the whole weekend.
Pre
So we appreciate you guys being here to listen in. And as you know, the wrestling world never stops, and neither do me and Tom. However, we will stop this episode for now, and we will see you for the next one.